39, starting it off. Ed Whitson has won more games in his career than any other pitcher on a very young San Diego staff. He's won 53. And here we go in game 2. Lined into left center field, and Whitaker's at it again. The ball cut off by Martinez, who gets it back in to Alan Wiggins. So Lou Whitaker singles, and that's the keynote for Detroit. They roar early. They have scored in the first inning 3 of the 4 postseason games.
And you almost have to believe that the track meet will start. Whitaker and Trammell, and it's a good combination. So once again, you can look for a message from Detroit to Kennedy that you're going to have to throw some people out.
Here is Alan Trammell, lives in Garden Grove, but he went to high school here in San Diego, and he was saying that he was a rabid San Diego fan. In fact, he said, I'm the only kid in America whose idol was Ed Spezio.
Oh, I remember him.
That's going back.
Oh, yeah. A name from the past, a blast from the past.
So Whitaker taking his lead, held on by Garvey. Trammell 2 for 5 last night. He singled home Whitaker. He also stole a base. Whitaker goes, hit and run, base hit to left field, and Whitaker keeps on going to third. The throw is not in time. Trammell holding at first, and the Tigers are in business.
Not only will they start their base runners, you can see that the scouting report says run on the outfielders, make them throw you out, and they are just taking off first to third, whether the ball is hit to right field or left field. They're going.
You know, it's a rather distressing note for the Padres because Ed Whitson is their only starter to go more than 5 innings in 6 postseason games. He went 8 innings against the Cubs, and he's in trouble in the first inning. Kirk Gibson went 0 for 4, struck out, walked last night, was picked off and was thrown out attempting to steal. So first and third, nobody out. And that's hammered to right center field. That's a base hit. On his way to third is Trammell, a long single by Gibson. And for the 4th time in 5 postseason games, the Tigers have taken a bite out of the opponent.
And you don't have to be a genius to realize that they've hit the first pitch. Every guy's walked up there and jumped on the first pitch. They respect. He's made 3 pitches. And he's trailing by 1. Here comes Sherry to settle down, and I'm sure he's going to hear, just give me the ball, I can get him. And he's going to have to, if nothing else, waste a pitch.
So Norm Sherry has the bullpen. Andy Hawkins is an early man down in the pen. And, of course, the middlemen for San Diego, Hawkins, Gravecki, and Lefferts, have been brilliant. They've not allowed a run in almost 18 innings in postseason play. But this would be awfully early to bring in Hawkins.
He's been making some mighty fine pitches, and in a spot like this, the pitch that he has to make, I would think, would be high and tight. Move him back off the plate and say, give me part of that plate back, because they have taken the complete plate. They've even taken the batter's box on the opposite side away from him.
Well, we'll see now how he works on Parrish, who went 2 for 3 last night. He had a single, a double, scored a run. He also walked. And the first thing Whitson has to do is keep an eye on Gibson, who runs as fast as any big man who ever played the game, I believe. Ed has had trouble during the year with runners on base, even those with ordinary speed. There goes Gibson, off-speed pitch. He stole it without a play. So Whitson, you can burn him, and the Tigers know they can run on him. And first pitch.
They're not even, according to the book, you say, let the big man, this is your 4th place hitter up there, let him knock a 3-run homer. But what they're doing is stealing the base easily, staying away from the double play, and putting a man in scoring position.
Give you an idea, base runners during the regular year was successful 17 out of 25 efforts. Boy, that'll give a pitcher a bad time. So second and third, 1-0 Detroit. Way outside with that breaking ball. Over the regular year, hit about 40 points better against left-handers, and he was a 4-hitter on the road. So we'll see what he does now. 2-0, off speed for a strike. The Padres will give up a run. The infield is back. They need some outs. Two and one. The count to Lance Parrish. Trammell at third, Gibson at second, and nobody out. Slider for a strike. Good pitch. That's the best pitch he's made.
He's also pitching off the stretch, although he can go off the full windup.
Sparky Anderson, who coached here in '69 and saw the Padres lose 110 games. And Dick Williams trying to win in his first effort over here with San Diego. He did it with the A's in '72. Off speed, a fly ball down the left field line, curling foul. Both runners tag. In the bullpen, it's caught by Martinez, and both men move up and make it. So Trammell in, Gibson to third, and Parrish, who led the American League with scoring fly balls, does it again, and it is 2-0 Detroit.
It's deep in the corner, and the report is run on him. He makes the catch, gets it into third base, but not even close.
Third baseman, number 41.
Is there any doubt in your mind at all that he should have caught it?
Oh, he has to catch that ball. He can't let that ball drop. No way can you give him another chance.
Just in case some folks had the thought. Here's Darrell Evans, who opened up last night at first base, playing third tonight. And with one out, they have to bring Greg Nettles wide of the bag, but even with it, off speed for ball one, 1-0. So you can see Nettles moving up. Gibson at third. Evans last night 0 for 3. They did walk him intentionally. 1-0. Fisted foul, so Whitson came in on his thumbs in the count, 1 ball and 1 strike. The Padres defensively, no drastic changes as you look at Darrell. You have Garvey, Wiggins, Templeton, and Nettles, Martinez, Brown, and Gwynn, and Kennedy behind the plate. Dick Tracewski coaching at first, Alex Grammas at third, and Whitson already bitten twice. Change, a little looper, Templeton going out and can't get it. In comes Gibson, and before the chairs are warm, it's 3-0 Detroit.
That was the pound ball that he threw, and he hit it off the end of the bat, not really smashed. Templeton gave it a good chase, just couldn't come up with it. Watch where he hits it. Right off the end.
Number 32.
A quail, a flare.
So a big 3 posted in the first inning, and the Tigers aren't through yet with 1 out. Here is Rupert Jones, and to show you the fortunes of one man in baseball, a year ago, Rupert Jones was in the starting lineup for the San Diego Padres. Jones picking up for Larry Herndon, last night's hero. And of course, that's Sparky's plan. You remember, Herndon homered in the first game against Kansas City and sat down for Jones in the second game. Same thing tonight. 2-0 the count, and Whitson, with Evans at first held on by Garvey, has allowed 3 and is only 1 out. Among other things, it's taken some of the starch out of this big crowd. So Dick Williams has to be very unhappy in what he sees right now. Evans held on. He stole a base against Charlie Leibrandt during the LCS. We'll watch him. In there. 3-1. Rupert has a look at Alex Grammas now to see if they'll let him swing or otherwise.
Rupert is one of those batters who's got to do a little jiggle when he's up there. He's always got to be moving.
And there goes Evans. And there's a high pop fly. And it'll be the shortstop, Gary Templeton. So Jones pops to short, and they had Evans going. They were playing run and hit. They played that a lot last night. And with 2 down, the batter will be the designated hitter and another former Padre, Johnny Grubb.
Johnny Grubb.
Rupert Jones was an all-star representing the Padres in '82. Johnny Grubb was an all-star representing San Diego back in 1974. He's been around. When he had his first at-bat at the start of 1984, it marked over 3,500 at-bats in the big leagues. How many at-bats you have? You ever keep track of that?
I'd have to look it up.
Yeah, I just thought that's a lot.
Nettles had to go to the bench to get a different glove. There you see him. He's waiting for the equipment man to come back with the glove.
Greg talking to Larry Barnett, and when you see Larry Barnett, if you have a memory at all, and I know you do, Joe, 1975 World Series. The batter is Ed Armbrister. He bunts. Carlton Fisk collides with him. The throw is wild. 10th inning. Joe Morgan gets a base hit. The winning run comes in. And all of that happened in 1975. And boy, everybody knew the name Larry Barnett. Okay. How many at-bats did you have in your big league career?
1,872.
What a memory.
And would you believe I got 1,872 times at bat?
That's a lot.
You thought I was going to say hits, didn't you?
No. Well, anyway, Johnny Grubbs had almost twice as many. There goes Evans, and a hit-and-run ground ball in the hole, and it's going to go into left field. So Evans will go to third, and the hit parade continues. So Evans was going, and Grubb found a hole. Nettles diving to his left. Templeton to his right. It looked like a bowling alley on the left side of the infield.
He's going to have to make a quick move here as he goes to the opposite field. Nettles gave it a great attempt. So did Templeton, but it was in the hole, one of those seeing eyes. But when you start that runner, you got your infield broken up just a bit. So Williams is in deep trouble.
Ed Whitson is gone. Andy Hawkins coming in. 3-0 Detroit, and they're still hungry. You wait all your life, you dream as a little kid that someday, and then you're afraid to even think it could happen that you'd get the chance. You get the chance, and boy, the world can sure be cruel.
Boy, you think it's Christmas Eve, and it turns out to be April Fool.
So they rough him up for 5 hits, 3 runs, and Andy Hawkins trying to get that elusive last out in the first inning. Chet Lemon with runners at first and third. And the first thing to do, and that's a good move for a young pitcher, is go to first, get into the ball game. Darrell Evans down the line at third. Lemon at the plate broke a drought. He was 0 for 15 in postseason slump, and he got a base hit in the 6th inning last night. So he's probably a much more relaxed hitter than a slider for a strike. I guess we should have known we'd be shaken early, because at 2:23 a.m. this morning there was an earthquake in San Diego that measured 4.8 on the Richter scale. And there's a lot of shaking going on right now. Ground ball down to third. Short hop by Nettles. And there it is. They finally get the out. 3 runs. 5 hits. And at the end of half, Tigers 3. Padres nothing. Down 3-0 in the bottom of the first inning. Here's the way the San Diego Padres stack up. Alan Wiggins at second base. And Tony Gwynn, the National League's leading hitter in right field. Steve Garvey at first base. And Greg Nettles in the cleanup spot at third. Terry Kennedy behind the plate. The DH, Kurt Bavacqua, batted 9th last night, but he has moved up to hit behind Kennedy tonight. Carmelo Martinez in left field. The shortstop, Gary Templeton, and the center fielder, Bobby Brown.
The pitcher is Dan Petrie, and every pitcher loves to walk out there with a 3-run lead, and that's exactly what he has, 18-8. Probably has the best slider in the American League, says Roger Craig, his pitching coach. 50% of the time it'll be fastballs or sliders, and he can run it in, run it away from you, and occasionally he'll throw that split-fingered fastball. And I say that because everybody throws it, and that seems to be the passport on this Detroit Tiger pitching staff. Everybody has to have one.
He'll be pitching to Wiggins, Gwynn, and Garvey. And in talking about the split-fingered fastball, he's still learning it. He has a tendency to push it and tip it off early. So we'll see what Wiggins does. And they bring in Darrell Evans. Drag bunt by the mound, and Wiggins beats it out.
Just an excellent bunt. And that's what the San Diego team has to do, is come roaring back.
And he successfully bunted against one of the better fielding pitchers in Dan Petrie.
By moving the third baseman in, they take away the push bunt, but he drags it. And now the question is, will he run?
Despite being down 3-0, maybe they want to light a fire, and he's just the torch to do it.
They might pitch out to find out and put the thought in their mind that we will pitch out.
A pitch out right on the money, and Wiggins holding. By the way, when you look at it, the 3 runs Detroit scored in the first inning is certainly a happy anniversary present to Tiger owner Thomas Monahan. It was 1 year ago today that he purchased the Detroit Tigers.
pitch out was more like a farmer planting a seed. It was trying to get it in the ground, into the minds of the San Diego Padres and say, hey, we're going to pitch out whenever we think we have to.
Alan Wiggins really eyeballing Petrie. Gwynn was 1 for 2 last night. He also had 2 walks and a stolen base. He was busy. So Alan Wiggins at first. The Tigers leading 3-0, and we're just starting. So pull up a chair. Game 2 of the World Series. Almost had him leaning the wrong way and make him pay for it. He just did correct and get back.
2 balls and no strikes. With the 3-run lead, Petrie will, chances are, throw the fastball, and Gwynn gets a lot of them, knows what to do with them. Wiggins is, if nothing else, he's letting the Tigers know that I'm not afraid to get a lead, and I will run.
3-0 Detroit, first inning. 2 balls and no strikes to Tony Gwynn. That's outside, ball 3, and all of a sudden, you look at Steve Garvey, and he's the tying run in the on-deck circle.
Out there talking to his pitcher, and there's no strategy going on right now. It's simply saying, hey, settle down. We got a 3-run lead. Don't be nibbling. Don't be too fine. We can't make a play if you walk somebody and forget the guy at first base. Let's get him out.
Well, Parrish has delivered his message. The chant in the stands, and the count 3-0 to Tony Gwynn. Wiggins held on by Dave Bergman. Lou Whitaker at second. Alan Trammell at short. Darrell Evans at third. Jones, Lemon, and Gibson in the outfield. Parrish behind the plate. Strike. 3-1 to Tony.
This pitch, I think, will tell you whether Dick Williams is going to operate on 8 cylinders or 6. I mean by that, Gwynn will be hitting, but will Wiggins at first base run? He's nodding yes. I would say run him.
Let's see if he plays run and hit now. 3-1. Wiggins goes. Fouled away, and Gwynn might have gone after ball 4.
Well, that's the young hitter. That's youth. He's just a good hitter right now. When he learns how to play the game, and how can you say that when a man is 350? But this is what I'm talking about. A year from now, he'll take that pitch and let it be a strike. Because what that is, when the guys let it be a ball, rather, because what it is, Wiggins will steal it most of the time anyhow.
All right, 3-2. We'll watch Wiggins. He figures to go, so they go over there. The American League did not do very well in running against Petrie. 9 of 17 were caught, so the league is in the red to him. So we'll see about Wiggins in his first effort. He goes, and that's ball 4. So that means Steve Garvey is the tying run in the first inning. At second. Tony Gwynn at first, and Steve Garvey talking to Ozzie Virgil.
Ben, if I can use a boxing analogy, it could be like a fighter who came out, got knocked down in the first round. Sometimes they use the ropes, and sometimes they come out and start whacking and say, let's get it over in a hurry. And Dick Williams is coming right back with his ball club, punching it out.
Now remember, Garvey led the National League in grounding into double plays. He hit into one last night. Williams also knows Garvey has been a very hot hitter for him. I don't know if Dick is aware that Garvey has failed to drive in a run in his last 55 at-bats in the World Series. And he bunts. And Petrie has to go to first. So the Padres are in business. Greg Nettles coming up. To sacrifice. He only sacrificed once the entire season, but that's been his career, asking to do something, and he does it.
Well, I would have to ask that question. Was he asked, or did he do it on his own?
Well, after the huddle with Virgil, I wonder.
I'd have to ask that question. There's no way we'd know. Right now, if I had to guess, I'd say he did it on his own.
All right, second and third, 1 out, first base open, and Greg Nettles the batter, followed by Terry Kennedy. Nettles 2 for 2, and in contrast to Garvey in the World Series, he is red hot in World Series competition. The adrenaline must get to pumping for Greg. He's had 6 hits in his last 9 at-bats. Look at there. Well, it's his time again. Well, Greg, who lives here in San Diego, trying to pick up a couple. 3-0 Detroit. First inning, 1 out. High fly ball into shallow left. Coming up is Rupert Jones, tagging his Wiggins, and on the throw to the plate, going to third goes Gwynn.
Parrish looked like he had him blocked off, but he got his foot in between Lance Parrish. Good slide.
I'm a little surprised they let the throw go through, but Jones made a good one, but he allowed Gwynn to go to third.
Watch the play at the plate. Parrish thinks he has him blocked, but right there goes his foot. Good speed, a good throw. Took a little bit of time getting rid of it. A straight-in slide. And Parrish didn't get the knee down. He thought he had him. Look at him asking. He's appealing, but he was in there.
So the Padres come scrambling back. They're 1/3 of the way, and the batter is Terry Kennedy. And they're going to throw to third in case Wiggins had left third too soon, and Paul Runge says no way. And Evans is upset. Coach Dick Trusewski standing up in the dugout as if to say, I know he left third too soon. Paul Runge said no. Kennedy had that big double in the first inning last night. He also had a single. He went 2 for 4. So 2 down. Tony Gwynn is at third, and it's 3-1 Detroit. Another wild first inning. Gwynn 90 feet away. Kennedy trying to pick him up as Gwynn fakes down the line. Fouled away.
Ozzie Virgil is encouraging Wynn to give it that fake start. Watch the tag. Now look at Runge's position. You time it. I think it was a good call.
Yeah, it was perfect.
I'll tell you, if Rupert doesn't do that little dance step before he gets rid of it, it might have gotten him.
1 ball and 1 strike to Kennedy, and he popped it foul off third. Darrell Evans coming over near the railing. At the railing, he's got it. So Kennedy fouls out, but the Padres come back with a run thanks to the speed of Alan Wiggins. 1 run, 1 hit, 1 left. At the end of an inning, 3-1 Detroit. Flying overhead, the Goodyear Blimp Columbia from Carson, California. The pilot is Captain Tom Matters from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The sister ship of the Columbia, the America, is completing a 4-day journey from Houston to Detroit for Friday night's game. Down on the ground, Andy Hawkins picking up the pieces for Ed Whitson. You might be interested to know that Whitson's effort was the shortest outing by a pitcher in a World Series since the Dodgers' Bob Welch lasted only 4 batters in Game 4 of the 1981 series against the Yankees. Bergman, Whitaker, and Trammell in the second inning. 3-1 Detroit. Little foul out of play. Bergman is a very fine fielder. He made 2 excellent plays behind Jack Morris. He came into last night's game as a pinch runner and stayed in and recorded the last out of the game. And he's a much better hitter against right-hand pitching.
Andy Hawkins, and this is one of the strengths of the Padres ball club, is middle relief. He's a nibbler, but he's got a good arm.
Change up, and it's lifted to right field. Gwynn going back, but he has a play on the track.
That's one of the things he's working on, is his change of pace. He's got a good fastball, Hawkins. He's got a hard slider, but the nibbling has been getting him in trouble. And what they say is with his stuff, he should just go right out and get him.
Interesting on this changeup, Bergman was a tad short. Otherwise, he hits it out.
You could see it was a palm ball, as you could see the way he had gripped it, and he was just a little bit out in front of it. Usually when that happens, it's the delivery that gives it away, the arm speed. You have to use that arm speed. It looks like a fastball.
Lou Whitaker takes a breaking ball for a strike. Whitaker, the spearhead of the attack, doubled to open up last night's game. Singled and scored to open up tonight. 1-1. see it in Detroit. 1-2. 2-2.
His fastball has been clocked at 89 miles. His changeup at 81. That's pretty close. He's going to have to get a little more distance.
2-2. You know, speed guns seem to vary in accuracy. And the one they're using tonight, they tell me, could be as much as 4 miles off the mark per hour. So I'm not sure. 3-2. Ground ball to first. Garvey juggles but stays with it.
I'll tell you how I feel about speed guns. They may tell you how fast, but they don't tell you the movement of the ball.
Right.
And I lost all confidence when I read that piece in the paper where the radar policeman had the gun and he clocked a tree going 85 miles an hour. That'll cause you to lose a little confidence.
I think so. Alan Trammell, he singled in the first inning. The start of the onslaught against Ed Whitson, and he takes a strike. Alan, who comes from San Diego, admitted he really had buck fever last night in the first inning. Got a base hit, and then he was okay.
You may have noticed a difference in the tempo of Whitson, who started in Hawkins. All he wants is the sign, and here he comes. He doesn't fool around.
1 ball and 1 strike. Oh, good change. He was way out in front of that. That's a dandy, that pitch. 1-2. With a hard breaking ball, and it's fouled off.
And I'm sure if I worked on it, I could figure it out, Vin. But the faster a pitcher works, I mean, in rhythm, the better his earned run average will be with good stuff, of course, because the infielders are ready. They're not on their heels laying back.
Boy, isn't that the truth? You always see the good defensive play behind a control pitcher, and that takes care of Trammell, and they're trying to build up a little momentum, a little comeback momentum in San Diego. Hawkins does his job, and at the end of an inning and a half, Detroit 3 and the Padres 1. 7 straight. The pattern continues as we look at Kurt Bevacqua.
I might say something about these fans. They've been cheering and waving and standing up for 5 straight days.
Yeah.
They're going on short rest.
Yeah, we'll see more of the same when we get to Detroit. You know, when you go into a dressing room before a ball game and you look at a player's locker, I think you get a lot of insight into that particular ball player. And you certainly would about Bevacqua. He bunts foul. Over Bevacqua's locker is a sign, and it reads, "If I hang around here for 20 years, I might get my act together." He tried to get his act together last night, remember? He doubled into the right field corner, waved to third, his legs buckled, he stumbled, and the great relay Gibson to Whitaker to Castillo, and his act was still apart. 0-1. 1-1. For instance, if you look at Steve Garvey's locker, there's a sign over that. Mr. Rogers. 1-1. Hard slider away, ball 2.
How about Sparky with his sign? If the world turns over on the man every 24 hours who's seated on top.
Good for Spark. Dan Petrie, an 18-game winner this year. And the count 2-2. Those who follow the game closely on the Detroit scene tell me that there is a great relationship between Roger Craig and Dan Petrie, almost a father and son relationship. In fact, Craig told Mrs. Petrie if she ever had a baby boy to name him Roger Craig Petrie. Next year, pitching coach Roger Craig has announced he's going to retire. And he has asked Dan Petrie, "If I retire, I want you to wear my uniform number, number 38. Petrie said, "I'm superstitious, but I might just do it." Fastball hit slowly to third. Evans has a bead on it. That takes care of Bevacqua.
And I would like to add a footnote to that. If I were Sparky Anderson and he has the right to ask this, regardless of whether he wins this series or not, I'd ask for Roger Craig to sit in the stands and steal signs from me and call pitch outs.
He's remarkable, isn't he?
He's uncanny. He is the best I have ever seen in action.
Well, here's Carmelo Martinez, 0 for 4, struck out twice last night. That might have been a lot of tension for a kid in his first series. A first baseman playing left field. And he hits a fly ball to center. Cruising over is Chet Lemon. And as usual, one-handing it. 2 down. It's 3-1 in favor of the Tigers. As usual, they came out snarling on an evening not even to smile about. It's so beautiful. Sunset over the Pacific. And the batter's Gary Templeton. He had a long night last night. 0 for 4, struck out twice.
Let's see if he'll jump on that first pitch.
He's notorious for that. On the grass at third is Darrell Evans. Ball 1.
He said to me before the game last night, sure, first time, a little anxious. I'm going to play within myself tonight.
The count. Dan Petrie last year led the American League in home runs allowed, 37. He improved on that considerably this year. Ground ball up the middle. Base hit for Templeton.
Petrie getting behind.
The center fielder, number 20.
Straight fastball as he really pushes off, but watch where it is, right down the middle. 89 miles per hour, the radar gun says.
So Templeton, a 2-out single, and that'll bring up Bobby Brown, a switch hitter batting left-handed, playing for Kevin McReynolds, and that really scrambled the Padres when McReynolds broke a bone in his wrist. Because now, without McReynolds and under the DH rule, the Padres are actually playing with 2 part-time players, Bavacqua and Brown. Brown 0 for 4 last night with 2 strikeouts, failed to sacrifice when it might have been a very important play. Off speed, a chopper to Bergman, foul ball. Right on the line is Bruce Fleming of the National League to call it.
Those slick fielders, they always show you something different. He was going to make sure he was in fair territory, but of course, you'll get a good look at it. Watch this.
I love to look at a left-handed first baseman. If ever a man was born to play a position, it's a left-handed first baseman.
He wanted to stay fair, thinking, well, if I'm fair, it's a fair ball.
0-2 the count to Bobby Brown. And a walk is called against Petrie.
You'll see it right there. He started to the plate, made a move, and that's it.
Well, there was no doubt. You'll hear Fleming. He was calling the balk. Now he's starting. Watch.
Right there.
So Fleming calling the balk immediately. No protest. It is 3-1 Detroit. Bottom of the second. Templeton with good speed at second. And the count, no balls and 2 strikes to Bobby Brown. So the substitute for Kevin McReynolds comes up empty and bubbles for Dan Petrie. At the end of 2, the Tigers 3, Padres 1. We'll be back after these messages from your local station.
Game is brought to you by Manville. Manville quality products make your house a home. And by Shearson Lehman American Express. Shearson Lehman American Express and the serious investor. Minds over money.
It's 3-1 Detroit as we go to the 3rd inning. The big story, of course, the aftershock here at Jack Murphy Stadium. Ed Whitson facing only 7 batters, gave up 5 hits and 3 runs, and relieved by Andy Hawkins. San Diego battling back for 1, and into the 3rd inning we go as another study of Ed Whitson, as he must be just dying inside. The opportunity is dawn a-glimmering.
Make no mistake about it, it's very painful for him to sit on that bench, but it's a tribute to him that he's there.
Exactly. And here is Kirk Gibson. 1-0. Gibson singled in the 1st inning, stole a base, and also scored, picked up an RBI. He's been busy.
It used to really bother me when guys get knocked out, get dressed, and go home.
Yeah. 1-0. Interesting you say that about going home. See what Larry Herndon did last night. He's a very quiet fella, and he never talks, really and truly. The game ended last night. Herndon went home to the hotel in his uniform. Everybody was around his locker looking for him. He had his clothing sent to the hotel. He just does not give out interviews. And he is extremely quiet. Years ago when he was with the San Francisco Giants, I remember how soft-spoken he was.
And his answer was, it was Jack Morris's night. Talk to him. He pitched a great game. I didn't do that much.
2-1 to count. Gibson, a ground ball to the right side. Wiggins is there. Over to Garvey. Andy Hawkins, and we mentioned it earlier, along with Dave Dravecky and Greg Leppers, have been absolutely brilliant. He has now worked 1 inning. So that means in almost 19 innings in postseason play, those 3 kids have yet to give up a run.
He's the kid who put the finger in the dike in this game right now. He has stopped the flow.
Well, here's Lance Parrish trying to break that dike down. He had a scoring fly ball in the first inning, and those are his numbers so far. And he hammers it, but it's hooking down the line and going foul and out of play.
Nothing will break a dike down quicker than a shot like that.
Oh, you talk about knocking your finger out. You take the whole hand off with that. 0-1 to Lance. Interesting, you look at him, he's the big home run hitter. He hit 30 or more the last 3 years. The Tigers, known for power, busted bad on a little blooper. Templeton fighting the lights, but he stayed with it. You know, the Tigers have not had a home run champion since Hank Greenberg in 1946. That's kind of hard to believe. You just figure that somebody's going to win a title in a long time. 2 down, and here's Darrell Evans. Evans kept it going with a bloop single in the first inning. Picked up an RBI. It is 3-1 Tigers. We're in the top of the third. 2 out, bases empty. Change missed. When the Padres bat in the bottom of the third, in case you're not keeping score, Wiggins, Gwynn, and Garvey. Breaking ball and the count 2-0. Pops it up on the left side. Greg Nettles, the third baseman. Okay. Andy Hawkins has retired 7 in a row in a great job of relief. However, at the end of 2 1/2, it's still Tigers 3.
Last pitch, and with our new camera, we use it with the split finger fastball. Watch this curveball. You'll see what the hitter tries to pick up. The twist of the wrist right there, and look at the rotation. See the seams coming across? What a great shot.
That's incredible. Wouldn't you just love once to have an at-bat where you could see the ball that well?
In your lifetime.
Now we'll see what Alan Wiggins sees. He had a drag bunt single in the first inning, and he loops one over the drawn-in Evans. It is going to drop. Chased by Trammell, and Wiggins holds as Rupert Jones gets it into Whitaker. Boy, you talk about a little wedge shot to the green. Watch him cozy this thing up to the cup.
Oh, he hit that and it landed like just a big wad of cotton. I mean, it was a soft, very polite single.
Had the velocity of a poached egg on toast.
Oh, and it just lands and kind of rolls around there. The scenario is set once again. Remember the last time, first pitch they pitched out. What will they do this time?
All right, Dave Bergman. He was the corner. Now, yes, he looking for that?
Oh, was he ever?
Gwynn walked in the first inning. No pitch out that time. All right, 1 ball and no strike.
Roger Craig will be busy over in the bench, and so will Lance Parrish.
3-1 Detroit. Bottom of the third. Nobody out. And there he goes. The pitch, a strike. The throw. He's out.
Oh, what a textbook play that was. Lance Parrish got a good ball to handle, but if you want to use a picture of getting yourself in position, look at that. He's shifting as it's coming, gets everything he can get into it. Trammell in front of the bag, makes the tag.
Let me ask you something, and we won't do it right now. We're going to look at that again, but the pitch is coming to the plate. That's high. If we had that replay again, you saw Gwynn around to bunt. Would it not have been better if he did not pull his bat back? He opened the door and let Parrish have a perfect throw. 2-1 to count. Ground ball to the right side. Whitaker playing that almost sideways to get him. In other words, Gwynn had the bat in front of the plate. Then on the pitch, instead of taking it and even maybe pushing the bat out, he pulled the bat away. And that's like saying, here, Lance, take a shot at it.
Some hitters, and Phil Cavarretta was one of the best at keeping that bat at eye level, and it makes it tough for the catcher. He did give him a better view.
Oh, he sure did. And you're giving a catcher who is the second best in the American League in percentage against base stealers. You open the door. Jim Sundberg was #1, and then Lance Parrish. So suddenly, there is no rally. There are no base runners. You have 2 down, and here is Garvey. And he's going to try to bunt, but he left it in Parrish mitt. 0-1. Garvey, remember, sacrificed in the first inning. But boy, anytime you're around a fake bunt, I don't think you should ever pull that bat back. It was a big play to get Wiggins to just stop the team dead in the water. 0-1 to count.
I'm sure there are some who say, well, Garvey wants to get on and be a base runner for the home run. But I tell you, with 2 outs, if Garvey promises me, as we look at Gwynn, promises me he's going to bunt, I think I'd send a cab for him to make sure he shows up.
1-1 to count. Slider missed. Remember early at the start, we talked about Petrie, the fact that base runners get burned when they try to run against him. 10 out of 18 now have been caught this year. 2-1 to Garvey. 2 down in the third. 3-1 Detroit. In there.
When you got a catcher like Lance Parrish behind the plate, I tell you, he can erase a lot of your mistakes. You don't have to have that perfect move. Just give him a chance. And well, Sparky says, I got a cannon back there. His arm ought to be registered.
Probably has serial number on the forearm.
Probably. Big enough.
2-2 the count. Ground ball to the left side. There's Trammell, and he kicks it. Picked up by Whitaker. No throw. I don't have to be an apologist for anybody down on the field, but remember, we talked about this being an extremely difficult infield. Here's a Gold Glove winner 3 times in the last 4 years, and he takes it off the wrists. This is really a tough infield. One big reason, of course, the Chargers play here. Atlanta's Fulton County Stadium is a tough infield because the Falcons play there. All right, Garvey and the Padres get a break on the error charge to Trammell, and the batter's Greg Nettles. 3-1 Detroit. 4-1. They're not expecting Garvey to do any running with 2 out, and with a left-hand hitter up, Bergman is off the bag and behind him.
They're really playing Nettles to pull. Evans at third base. Look at that defense that they've got against him. Way around.
We'll see whether Petrie can keep the ball down, because Nettles has become a high ball hitter. Got it too far down. 2-0 to count.
Looks like Nettles becoming a high fastball hitter. He just wants to open up a little bit quicker than he used to because maybe age or whatever, so he can pull that ball and get some socks.
Everybody changes. So if you're around long enough to go from low to high, and he's 40. 2-0. 3-0. And on deck is Terry Kennedy.
And he took a good look, and you can bet me as we look at Kennedy that if Nettles wants to hit, he can. He'll get the green light. He was still looking at Ozzie Virgil at third base.
3-0 to Greg Nettles. He hit 20 this year. Good pitch. Came inside, got the corner.
There's a line in baseball that says experience gives you less anxiety, and there you saw it. It wasn't his pitch. He took it. If it had been 3-0, you got to pick your pitch. Not only is it going to be a fastball, it's going to be a low fastball, low inside, wherever you want it. You zero in on it.
3-1. We'll watch Garvey. He's not going. Ball 4.
Attempted steal, and the play by Parrish looms more important in this inning as the big guy goes out to talk. Here's Petrie's delivery, and Parrish really gets into it, and you can see how much he throws. Look at that follow-through. Sweeping tag.
Number 15.
Yeah, and I still say the most important part of that play was Gwynn pulling his bat back. Now with 2 down and 2 on, here's Terry Kennedy, who fouled out in the first inning. Fouled to third. You were talking about experience. There's another line about experience. It says experience teaches you to recognize a mistake when you've made it again. Foul back. 0-1. Boy, did he wait on that pitch, as we use that expression. That thing was almost past him, and he fouled it to the left. He has struggled with men in scoring position. 2 on, 2 out. 3-1 Detroit in the third. Garvey at second, Nettles at first. No speed at all here, and there's a ground ball to Trammell on the bag for the force of Nettles. Down on the field, and here's that play we're talking about. What? Interference and obstruction. And I know he could have made life a lot more miserable for Lance Parrish if he didn't open the door like that.
He gave him a good clear view, but the thing that he really, if he's going to take the pitch, would look like he was taking all the way, is to get it a little bit higher, right at eye level.
You got it.
Cavaretta would do that, and boy, I'm really going to date myself now. Mel Ott, when I broke in as a kid with the Cardinals, when he would do that, I'd try to peer over the bat, under the bat, and he always had it in my eyes.
Right. Well, that's a big play in that inning. Look at Wiggins singles, and he's thrown out. If he makes it, you have the error, a walk, and you don't know what happened. Well, here's Rupert Jones in the 4th inning. 3-1 Detroit. Right.
Rupert Jones hits like there's a Don Hole record on. Watch him.
What do you mean?
Watch his body.
All right. Oh, yeah. Put a little grass skirt on there. 0-1. High slicing fly ball, curling foul, and hooking down into the bullpen out of play. A reminder later on, NBC Light Beer from Miller Player Award. But that's a long way to go.
If you got any guts, you'll do a tiny bubble.
Yeah, right.
Watch him, watch him.
Boy, he's got a lot of moves. There's an awful lot of shaking going on. 1-2.
You get a Rupert Jones doll and batteries are not included.
That's right. You can put it in the back of the car. Watch it move. An all-star for San Diego in '82. He was in the opening day lineup in '83. Look at that. 1-2. Fisted, and going out to get it is Templeton. 1 away.
Here he is. Tiny bubbles.
You know, it's things like that that brought in Ladies' Day when Musial was playing.
That's right.
Johnny Grubb.
Here's Johnny Grubb. He singled in the first inning. As the DH, he was the last batter that Ed Woodson faced. 1 away, top of the 4th, 3-1 Detroit. Big chopper to third, and Nettles is right there with a lot of time to get him. But all Hawkins has done is breathe 9 in a row.
You're looking at one of the big strengths of this Padres ball club, and that's at middle relief. Vin talked about the 3 guys, Hawkins, Dravecki, and Lefferts. And what they do is they hold the other ball club and they stop the momentum. It's almost as if they say, okay, guys, we've got the flow is stopped. We're not hemorrhaging anymore. They're going to be stopped, and let's go out and get some runs.
And as you saw, he's doing it about 3 pitches a hitter. And here now is Chet Lemon. Lemon, who hangs over the plate, we mentioned last night, was hit 106 times in his career. The record for Payne, Minnie Minoso, was hit 150, but in the National League, Ron Hunt, if you can believe this, was not only hit 243 times, one season he was hit 50 times in 1971. Now, you have to be a special individual to take that kind of pounding.
Hey, the man used to practice getting hit.
How was it Stengel would say? Go up and take one in the neck for the club.
Tell you, Bo, when you play like that, the only other guy I know is an outpatient somewhere.
Well, Chesterfield's home plate is mine. 0-2. Ground ball wide to third. Nettles angles over, flips to Garvey, and so Andy Hawkins just breezing along. He has stopped the bleeding. Padres 1. Padres reading left to right. Champ Summers, Mario Ramirez, Luis De Leon, and Greg Nettles. De Leon holding one of the 55,000 American flags that were given out to the fans here tonight in a tribute to our country and to its national pastime. It was a lovely idea, and it was paid for by 4 companies here in the San Diego area. Bottom of the 4th, 3-1 Tigers. Bavacqua, Martinez, and Templeton. Kurt 0 for 1.
He's known to bunt. He's got Evans back a little bit.
Yes, Evans is way back. Bergman, Whitaker, Trammell, and Evans behind Petrie. Jones, Lemon, and Gibson. Big Lance Parrish behind the plate. For Sparky Anderson, when he won last night, he has won 12 consecutive postseason games. There's Spark. Imagine that, 12 straight. Strike. He interpreted, of course, the LCS this year, plus 1 World Series game. And when he managed Cincinnati in 75 and 76, he had 2 playoff sweeps, plus the victories in the series, to give him a string of 12. 0-1. 1-1. Tigers jumped out for 3. The Padres came back for 1, and we're now in the bottom of the 4th. Pitch. I think Bavacqua kind of walked into it. He was guessing breaking ball away. He built his own low bridge. Bavacqua was originally signed by Cincinnati in a free agent draft in '67. He's been around a while. Of course, when you talk about a draft in Detroit, they must host a draft to the 1976 draft. In the '76 draft, Detroit drafted Alan Trammell in the 2nd round, Dan Petrie in the 4th round, and Jack Morris in the 5th round. That's a draft. 3-1. There's a base hit into left field.
Petrie has been falling behind the hitters, having to come in, and the hitters have been going at it.
You know, when you look to last night's game, the Padres were making noise in the 1st, 3rd, 6th, 7th, and then they were shut down by Jack Morris in the 8th and 9th. They've made noise now in 4 straight innings tonight. However, it's the old story, as they say on Broadway, how'd you come out? They're making a lot of noise, but they're down 3-1. Ball 1. Showed a little bit of discipline on that one, and Parrish out to talk to Petrie.
Well, it's not like Petrie to get that ball up like that. He's got to get that ball down, especially now where he's looking for the double play.
So Dan Petrie, 18-8 during the regular year. Marvelous pitcher to complement Jack Morris. And, of course, we'll be looking at Milt Wilcox, who will pitch game 3. Ball 2. By the way, Milt Wilcox is not here. Very quietly, but with a great deal of wisdom, Sparky Anderson sent Milt home to make sure he'd get plenty of rest. No red eye on a sluggish off day or anything like that. He should be in Detroit, comfortably ensconced and taking this one in on TV. Fouled away. 2-1 to count to Martinez with Bavacqua at first in the 4th. Nobody out. 3-1 Detroit.
It's only natural that I zero in on Lance Parrish or Terry Kennedy for that matter, but he constantly looks at the bench before the pitch to see whether Craig wants to put something on.
You certainly aren't expecting any running from Bavacqua. 2 balls, 1 strike to Martinez. And he was thinking bunt and almost had his knuckles burned off. 3-1. So Petrie is struggling. Now we'll see if Williams hangs out a run and hit sign.
I would think he'd hold him.
This crowd on its 0-2.
Now's the big decision. You got a fellow up there who's known to strike out. Roger Craig taking a good look. He's the one who flashes the signs. Will Dick Williams run Bavacqua? Nobody out.
Well, this is a run and hit situation as opposed to hit and run. You're not obligated here to swing at ball 4.
He just told him take a good look at first base. I don't think he'll be going.
He's not. And there's strike 3 called.
That's the reason right there, because he just doesn't make enough contact to start your runner.
Martinez struck out over 80 times this year. Another thing, too, about Martinez, as we pointed out, he is a consistent fly ball hitter. So you're not really worrying about getting a runner started with Martinez like he's going to ground into a double play. So here now is Gary Templeton. Petrie with 2 strikeouts each time the hitter was caught looking. Fouled away. 0-1. Did you ever think about being a manager when you were coming to the end of your playing career?
Yes.
I mean, you can get so much into a game like Roger Craig, Sparky Anderson, Dick Williams. I just wonder if you ever thought about it.
Yes.
But you didn't want to do it, or what?
Well, I got into broadcasting, you know. When
that was that.
Hey, I get a cold, I gotta get cured.
0-1. In the dirt, rolling behind Parrish, holding his Bavacqua. He doesn't have the speed to gamble with the team down by 2.
Roger Craig giving all the signals and everything. I asked him if he gets any help. He says very rarely. Watch the umpire, Larry Barnett. As Parrish can't find it, and it was Barnett. There's 2 pretty big guys back there.
Roger, ever the constant professor. 1-1. Evans in on the grass at third. Ground ball into right field. Bavacqua takes a look and keeps on going. Gibson's throw is cut off. If they let it go through, the tying run's in scoring position. So they cut it off. Because he started from first instead of home.
His body took a bad hop, though, when he took the head first slide.
With the hitter Bobby Brown up, the double play combination is back, and the corners are even with the bag. Brown not making contact. He has struck out 3 times in his 5 at-bats, and he has a huge pair of shoes to fill without Kevin McReynolds. So he finds Bavacqua at third, Templeton at first, 1 out. 0-1 to count to downtown Brown. Left-hander Bill Shearer throwing back of Petrie now in the Tiger bullpen. Oh, great pitch. And Brown had a big rip, having trouble making any contact, and now he hurts himself. Take a look at that again.
Looks like a breaking ball. He took something off the pitch. There it is. Might have been the split finger.
I'll tell you how badly he's swinging the bat. He fouled that on his back leg, and no big leaguer does that. All big leaguers' bats are so quick that when they hit a foul ball, it's always on the front leg. But see, it's his left leg, the back leg. Boy, you're hurting when you're swinging a bat that slowly. 0-2. Fastball. Tried to sneak it by him. Fouled away. Aurelio Lopez now joins Bill Shearer down in the Detroit bullpen. There they are. Shearer, the left-hander. Petrie is struggling, but he's a bulldog. He's allowed 5 hits, but only 1 run. He's been in trouble in every inning. Padres have left 4 men in the first 3 innings. 0-2. Turned him around. Keep him honest.
63 pitches Petrie has made. I wouldn't say that's too many. They've just been hitting him.
Sparky watching another ace on the rack here in San Diego, at least for the moment. Morris survived the stretching, and Petrie's turn tonight. 1-2. Off speed, hit slowly to short. Trammell will shovel to Whitaker, and that's all. And scoring is Bavacqua. 3-2 Detroit.
It's a curveball. It's in a good spot. Brown just gets the bat on it. Doesn't hit it hard enough for the double play. But Templeton coming down from second was going to make sure.
So a run over here in the fourth inning for San Diego. Tigers 3 runs, 5 hits. Padres 2 runs, 5 hits. Here's Wiggins. And again, Evans has to come up in on the grass. Wiggins dragged for a bunt single and single to left. Strike. So Alan Wiggins 2 for 2. He hit over 250 during the regular year. He's hitting over 300 in postseason. And of course, always a threat to bunt. 0-1. Brown fakes. There's a base hit into right field. Brown will be stopped at second. They're not going to dare run on Gibson. Alan Wiggins is 3 for 3. Boy, do they have the right guy at the right time at the plate now.
Lance Parrish is out buying some time, along with his third baseman, Darrell Evans. There you see Roger Craig. He'll go walking out there. I'm sure Shearer's warming up with Lopez.
Well, we were talking about the father-son relationship between the two, Petrie and Craig. Just kind of watch if there's any indication of it. Dan Petrie wrote an article about it. Williams looks on about Shearer being ready. The last time Bill Shearer pitched was the 30th of September. The last time anyone but Lopez and Hernandez pitched was the last week of September. Tony Gwynn with 2 on. Wiggins at first, Brown at second. 3-2 Detroit. Bottom of the 4th. 2 out. And that's hit in the air to right center. Gibson will flag it. So Tony Gwynn, a tough out, but they get him. And the Padres wind up with 3 hits for a run. We'll be back after these messages from your local station. We're going to the 5th inning. The Tigers leading the Padres 3-2. It'll be Dave Bergman, followed by Lou Whitaker, and then Alan Trammell. Bergman flied to right in the 2nd inning. Dave is 0 for 1. When you look at Bergman, all you need is a little bit of imagination to realize what might not have happened. If you think of March the 24th, Detroit made a deal with Philadelphia, Glenn Wilson and John Wackenfuss, and they got Willie Hernandez and Dave Bergman. However, they almost traded Glenn Wilson to Kansas City. Then the deal was UL Washington was going to go to Oakland, and Tim Conroy, the left-hander, was going to come from Oakland to Detroit. What a difference things would have been had the deal gone that way instead of the way it eventually turned out. 1-1 to Dave Bergman. 5th inning, 3-2 Tigers. He jammed him. A pop fly back a third. Templeton is on the job, however. That's 11 in a row retired by Andy Hawkins. So Hawkins has been brilliant. He came in after Grubb's base hit chased Ed Whitson in the first inning, and Andy has gotten everybody, allowing just one fly ball hit to the outfield.
And he's got a good live arm. The gun tells us it's around 90 as far as the speed. When you talk to the two coaches, especially Dunlop and Sherry, they say his arm is just live.
Well, here's sweet Lou Whitaker fouling it away, single to left, and scored a run, and grounded out in the second.
According to my score sheet, Vin, the third, fourth in this inning, not a ball out of the infield.
That's right. The only ball hit out of the infield was Bergman's fly ball so far. So Hawkins has been brilliant. However, the Tigers got 3 in the first, and Dan Petrie trying to make them stand up.
Part of Hawkins' problem was a loss of confidence, and down the bullpen he went to pitch out of it. I think he's got the confidence back.
Oh, he's got to be 6 inches taller than when the season ended. 0-1 to count. Whitaker followed by Trammell. Fastball away just to keep him honest. 1-1.
That was a classic example of they agreed on the fastball, but Kennedy wanted it inside. He shook him off and made it go outside.
High change, ball 2. 2-1.
The wiggle is always a specialty pitch.
Show you how tough Whitaker is. Difference between a left-hand pitcher and a right-hander. 85 points higher against right-handed pitching this year. I mean, he's mean. Lou is a remarkable athlete. As a kid, his legs, they tell me, worse than bow-legged. He couldn't afford crutches or braces. And yet relatives helped to straighten him out, and he's a big league star, Lou Whitaker. And so is Andy Hawkins, who has now retired 12 consecutive hitters. That's his second strikeout. It's still 3-2 Detroit, and the batter is Alan Trammell. Trammell single to left, struck out, and committed an error. Scored a run. He's been busy.
He is just getting a sign, winding up, and throwing strikes in a good spot.
No balls, 1 strike. Fouled away. In the bottom of the 5th inning, the Padres are due to send up Steve Garvey, Greg Nettles, and Terry Kennedy, the heart of the lineup. The numbers 3, 4, and 5 hitters. Oh, 2 to Allen. Foul back. Boy, that's a good fastball. He just did get a piece of it, and it's still 0-2. And they tell me a 93-mile-an-hour fastball. So he's humming.
You could see that thing was biting as it came in.
0-2. Trammell, such a disciplined hitter, able to lay off a borderline pitch. The crowd thought it was a strike, but Trammell knew, and so did plate umpire Larry Barnett. 1-2. Fastball punched him out. That's 13 in a row. A brilliant performance by Hawkins, who hollers, "Let's go." In July of 1980, Jack McKeon took over as vice president of the baseball operations of the Padres, and since his tenure, only Hawkins, Thurmond, Shaw, and Flannery were in the organization, and they're still here. Trader Jack, they call him.
My vote for executive of the year.
Lifted to center field. Lemon going back, almost committed coming in, then retracts. 1 away. So Garvey 0 for 2. And the batter, Greg Nettles. Nettles had a scoring fly ball in the first inning and walked in the third. Tigers 3 runs, 5 hits. Padres 2 runs, 6 hits. 4-1. 1970. Of course, you have to put an asterisk and a footnote and think about the enticing short right field line in Yankee Stadium. 2-0. Keeping the ball down, and he's behind 3-0. Now he's got socked. If Petrie gets the ball up, he could get you even. 3-0. One away in the fifth. 3-2 Tigers. So he's aboard with one out. And again, the Padres have a tying run aboard. And the batter is Terry Kennedy. And they're moving around in the Tiger bullpen, although no one is throwing for the moment. Terry Kennedy coming up has fouled out, hit into a force play. Nettles, standing at first, does not have an official at-bat. With a scoring fly ball and 2 walks, and Aurelio Lopez took off his jacket, and he'll go to work with 1 out. Off-speed breaking ball. No speed here at all with Kennedy at the plate and Nettles at first. So Bergman can get off the bag and guard the line. The infield and double play depth. Trammell is on the rim and over to his left to fill up the middle. And look how far wide of the bag at third is Darrell Evans. 0-1. Off speed. 1 ball, 1 strike.
The pitch that he's been throwing for the strike to Kennedy has been the overhand curveball and trying to get the ground ball.
Petrie has really had to work hard. He has not retired the side in order yet. 2-1.
Hey, they've had so many base runners. He really is not sure if he's not having 2 infields out there.
This is his 75th pitch right now. 2-1. Fastball, a 1-hopper, bad hop. And everybody's safe. Nettles stopping at second. And that tough infield in San Diego has another victim along with Ryne Sandberg. Add the name Lou Whitaker.
I mean, it eats him up. If you're looking for a major league bad hop, if it stays on double play, and it took about a 90-calorie bite right out of Whitaker, right up there in the chest.
So there's as bad a hop single as you want to get. It almost knocked the letters off his shirt. And with 2 on and 1 out, Kurt Bavacqua, the DH, grounded to third, single to left. Now remember, it's going to take more than just a base hit to get Nettles home. You'll have to hit it on an angle. If an outfielder charges a base hit straight on, I don't think Nettles can make it home. Jones deep in left field. Slider strike. 0-1. Boy, Petrie has been through the wars, but he's a bulldog in that Tiger uniform. He's allowed 7 hits, but only 2 runs, leading 3-2. Bavacqua has turned it around, and Sparky knows full well that the Padres are a very tough club. As he said at the start of the series, they match up tougher against us than the Cubs.
And the Padres themselves say individually, maybe we're not too impressive, but collectively, look out.
Missed ball 3. Interestingly, too, Tiger pitchers have not been giving up home runs. In fact, that's the first home run in the last 11 games given up by a Tiger pitcher. And Martinez is aboard.
And there's a new term that's come into baseball called the igniter, and that's usually a guy that gets on base, but in this particular case, you'd have to say it was Andy Hawkins.
That's right. Hawkins has retired 13 in a row. And look at Lopez numbers, 10 and 1. And now the batter is Gary Templeton. Templeton is 2 for 2. Single to center, single to right. Pitch out. What kind of a mess was that? It got Larry Barnett flush on.
They crossed him up. I mean, he crossed him up. Larry Barnett really got a nasty crack. And they're going to have to come out and attend to him. Watch Lance Parrish jump out, and he's expecting the pitch out, and he missed the sign, misses the ball, and you talk about getting hit in a vulnerable spot.
Oh, my God.
Oh, man, that's a nasty one. The big guy's standing right there. He just needs a breather. Just missed the sign completely. He throws a strike, and look at where Parrish is gone. And there's Larry Barnett in no man's land. Gary Templeton wondered, what did I do? I didn't even hit it.
Finished. Naturally, Lance Parrish, as a ball player, has to go after the ball before time is officially out. And holding at first is Martinez. Remember, in this inning, the key to the inning is Kennedy's bad hop single. That's a double play ball, and the inning is over. But the bad hop kept it alive, and the Padres are trying to make the most of it.
And Parrish is going out to make sure we got the signs. And you talk about getting basic right here. And Lopez is trying to explain what happened. There's no explaining. You missed it. And usually when it's sign is missed, it's the catcher who gets it. You know, you put down fastball, you get a curveball, and you can order 2 beers by putting up your pinky and your index finger. This time he got out there and Barnett took it.
All right, Gary Templeton, 2 for 2 in the count, 0-1. Boy, what a lonely feeling for Barnett, huh, to take a bullet head on.
Oh.
Martinez at first. 5-3 San Diego, bottom of the 5th inning. Away by Gary in the count 0-2. When the Tigers come up in the 6th inning, they will have Kirk Gibson, Lance Parrish, and Darrell Evans, the heart of their lineup. Standing at first, Carmelo Martinez. Bergman holding a corner, and Templeton trying to move him around. Boy, it's a great series already.
Oh, 2 good ball clubs. That's why they're here.
0-2. Fouled away.
If you would have taken a poll of the first home run hit by a San Diego Padre, how high you think Bavacqua would have finished?
Well, when he and Lasorda got into a hollering match a year or so ago, Lasorda said he couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat. Well, I tell you what, he hit more than water. Ground ball into right field. Martinez being waved to third. Gibson fumbles, and Templeton goes to second. Mrs. Joan Kroc, the owner of the San Diego Padres.
Right by Bergman, and Gibson, in his haste to pick it up, just can't make the play, and he loses the chance for the double play, and now they got to pull the infield in. You also saw a quick shot of Ballard Smith and Linda Smith of the Padre official family.
High pop fly down the right field line. Gibson coming to the stand right at the railing. It's back in, out of play. 0-1. It's a base hit for Templeton, his third of the night. An error charge to Kirk Gibson. Isn't it interesting? Kevin McReynolds, the regular, is out. The fellow taking his place is having a tough series, and every time you look up with men on base, who's the hitter but Bobby Brown? So the heat's on Bobby, 0-1. Second and third, one out in the fifth. 5-3 Padres. The infield is up. And he's in a hole again, strike two.
But the switch paid off, but Bavacqua moving him up. He was in the spot where he came up with a couple on and pounded one.
Oh, Martinez at third, Templeton at second, one out. Infield trying to choke off a run. Popped it up. So Brown having a bad time, and right at the bag is Darrell Evans. It's amazing. If you have a player who doesn't measure up to the occasion, you just can't hide him.
I don't care where you put him, the ball will find him.
I know of a case of a pitcher a couple of years ago, and they were talking about a very poor defensive player, and they're going to play him at third base, and the manager said to the pitcher, "Don't worry, I'm going to hide him." The first pitch of the game was a ground ball through the third baseman's leg, and the pitcher hollered to the manager, "They found him already." There's one hit towards center, but coming up is Lemon to make the play since they were up short for Wiggins. But what an inning for the Padres and for the city of San Diego. They post three, not to mention what it did for Kurt Bavacqua. 5-3 Padres at the end of five. Calm high up there, but boy, down on the ground, it's a madhouse in Jack Murphy Stadium. The Padres leading the Tigers 5-3 as we go to the sixth inning. Bobby Brown rather disconsolate in the San Diego dugout, and his replacement is now in center field, Luis Salazar. So there's Salazar. Might have as good an arm as they have on the San Diego Ball Club, whether he's playing third base or the outfield. And there's the hero of the moment, Kurt Bavacqua, the DH. He had one home run in all of '84 and hits the home run of his life in the World Series.
You know what his biggest claim to fame before tonight was?
No, what?
He was the Major League bubblegum blowing champion in the baseball world.
Well, I tell you one thing, the Tigers didn't win 104 games this year and then polish off Kansas City and then beat San Diego last night without coming back again tonight. And they have the boys to do it right now, Gibson, Parrish, and Evans, against Andy Hawkins, who has been absolutely perfect.
That ball is alive. You can see it bend from up here.
Andy Hawkins had retired 13 in a row. That was a 96-mile-an-hour fastball.
Best one. I started to say that, but I was afraid with the gun on it.
A looper to fly ball to left field. Coming up is Martinez, and he can't get there.
He must have lost that ball.
Must have.
He should have caught that ball. It didn't look like he was having trouble.
So Gibson, very fortunate. A fly ball single.
He doesn't see it. He didn't see that ball.
Remember, that's a kid who was a first baseman. They're just making a left fielder out of him. Last night, he never got his glove on a fly ball and was charged with an error. On-the-job training is particularly difficult, especially in the World Series.
Wow.
Lance Parrish had a scoring fly ball, popped to short. So Parrish represents the tying run at the plate. 5-3 San Diego in the sixth inning. Gibson, excellent speed, held on by Garvey. And Craig Lefferts, left-hander, begins to throw in the San Diego bullpen. Bill Shearer is throwing in the Detroit pen. 1-0. Parrish followed by Evans. Lance having a long look at Alex Grammas. 1-0. In there with that breaking ball, 1-1. 13 in a row were retired until that fly ball that should have been number 14. One thing in professional baseball, to keep your sanity if you're a ball player, you live by the philosophy the scales balance out. Nobody has proven to me that they do, but it keeps you solid mentally. So maybe the bad hop single in the 5th inning balancing out on the fly ball by Gibson. We'll see. Popped up. Alan Wiggins.
You're assuming that you start to play this game balanced mentally.
So Gibson holding on that pop fly to Wiggs, and here's Darrell Evans. 1 out in the 6th inning, 5-3 San Diego. Darrell Evans, single to left, and popped up to 3rd. So he didn't get a ball to pull in his first 2 at-bats. Nettles wide, and even with the bag at 3rd, Gibson with his great speed off the bag at 1st, held on by Garvey.
Pitch out.
Now, how'd you know that?
So the sign.
You mean you know there's signs for a pitch out?
No, he used the same one I used when I was catching.
You're kidding. Some things never change.
A lot of things never change.
What is it?
Fist, when he put down the fist.
Is that right? Wow. 1 ball, no strikes. And there goes Gibson, and the pitch is lined to right. Gwynn's got a double play. He throws to Garvey. Double play. Detroit 5-3, and left-hander Bill Shearer has picked up, and Gwynn fouls it away. Gwynn has walked, grounded out, and flied to right, and doubled up Kirk Gibson on the fly ball in the top of the 6th inning. Tony was a tough out in the 4th inning. Gibson made a good play, and a drag bunt. He slapped it, and there's nobody at first. Base hit.
A classic drag bunt. He gets it by the pitcher, and now the race is on, and he wins it.
Watch him push it. Look at that. He slapped at it.
He had to get it by the pitcher, and he did. An amazing young hitter, Mr. Tony Gwynn. And they tell me his brother, his own coach, says he's the best college hitter I've ever seen. I used to say that about Tony.
That's his brother Chris, who goes to San Diego State and played on the Olympic team. But I'll tell you one thing about Chris. He doesn't play basketball. He's playing a lot of baseball. Tony, as we mentioned last night, he was really a basketball player. He didn't play baseball until April, which down these parts is really late in the year. These kids out here play forever.
I tell you, if he's a better hitter than Tony, make him sleep in a deep freeze and nothing would happen to him.
That's the 10th hit. First one off Shearer, who was welcome to the club. And here's Garvey. Off speed for a strike. Bill Shearer at one time with Cincinnati. And even though Hernandez was doing magnificently, Sparky felt, I'd like to have another left-hander in the pen. Here's Bill. He's all arms and legs and kneecaps and elbows. You really have to watch him. 5-3 San Diego, bottom of the 6th. Garvey, Nettles, and Kennedy with Gwynn at first. Woo, in and a knuckle. Garvey, for years, despite his high numbers, he was still a very, very proficient hit-and-run man. And we say despite his high numbers because he had to hit balls off his ear, off his nose, and he would do it. So we'll see if they put a play on. Dick
Williams considers him the best hit-and-run man on the ball club.
Boy, he's great at making contact. With this combination, Gwynn at first, and with a 2-run lead, the Padres would be spending house money anyway, leading 5-3. High drive into left field, but this one is playable, and Rupert Jones puts it away. Gwynn tags and just makes Jonesy throw a one-hopper into Whitaker. The Garvey didn't get enough, just a lazy fly ball. And with 1 out, Greg Nettles the batter.
Bill Shearer has been able to stop Gwynn at first base with his move. He's doing something that really freezes him.
So Shearer working on Nettles, who has not had an official at-bat. Walked twice and a scoring fly ball. You wonder about how much longer Andy Hawkins will pitch. Hawkins has worked 5 1/3 innings, a brilliant relief, and he's backed up now in the bullpen. Lefferts has been throwing down there. In there. We mentioned when he was warming up, Shearer has not pitched since the 30th of September. And there's Hawkins, a big Texan, dying on every pitch. He's the pitcher of record as he sits next to Eric Shao and sweats it out. Put a pretty good move on Gwynn to make him dive back with a short lead. On 1. It's like he has hinges in his body. Everything seems to be moving like a mechanical man, and suddenly he's coming after you.
And he unfolds.
Yeah. Like about 30 yards of garden hose. Watch him. Big roundhouse jug in there for a strike. Good pitch. 0-2. Of course, Nettles has been looking at good pitches for a long time. He lives in nearby Del Mar. Gwynn at first with a bunt single, 1 out in the 6th. 5-3 San Diego. Foul tip, so he's still alive. It's out of Paris Met.
Here's the motion we're talking about. Boy, he hides that ball.
You see that knee? It almost came up and hit him in the chin.
Yeah.
0-2.
Almost a sneer on his face, too.
Yeah. Going to first. I still can't get over you calling the pitch out. If Dick Williams hears about that, he's going to die. That you can sit in the booth and you know the San Diego pitch.
I don't know their sign. I would say that most clubs in baseball use the same sign.
There goes Gwynn, and he picked him off. Bergman down to Trammell. Got him. He tried to make it tough, going by the bag and reaching back with his left hand, but Trammell is too much of a pro to fool for that.
He runs on his own. At least last night he said he did. I mean, they got him picked off a mile in no man's land. He just heads for it, but forget it. And he just slides by the bag trying to get in with his hands. No good.
0-2. Just did hold up. 1 ball, 2 strikes. When Detroit comes up in the 7th, they have Jones, Grubb, and Lemon. Fly ball slicing a little, but Lemon is there, and Chet puts it away. So a drag bunt single, and that's erased, and the Padres go 1-2-3. And at the end of 6, 5-3 Padres. We'll be back after these messages from your local. Andy Hawkins went 5 1/3 brilliant innings, allowing just 1 hit, and retired everybody else except for that base hit. Now, let's go through it again. There's my mitt. There's my hand.
Right.
That's the pitch out?
Pitch out.
I mean, you don't move it either way.
You just put it down just like that. That's the pitch out.
What's the fastball?
Fastball.
Curveball.
Right there.
Off-speed pitch.
Doo-doo-doo.
And slider or whatever. 3?
3.
But the fist is the pitch.
That's the pitch out. In fact, when my first year of broadcasting, I was a genius because the 2 clubs I got traded from were using the same steel sign when I was there.
I can't believe that there is indeed nothing new under the sun.
Listen, if Rip Van Winkle got up today, the only thing he wouldn't recognize would be the DH.
Well, last night's hero, Larry Herndon, is at the plate. Craig Lefferts, the dealer, and it's ball 1. Well, if we get anybody on base for Detroit, we will be sure to watch Terry Kennedy's fist. Larry Herndon hitting for Jones. 2-0. Greg Lefferts 3-4, as you can see. But along with Dravecky and Hawkins, he has been brilliant. 5-3 San Diego, 7th inning. In there, 2-1. Lefferts was born in Munich, West Germany. And another wave has hit Jack Murphy Stadium. High pop fly. Wiggins out. Salazar in. It's Salazar. And the goose hangs high in Jack Murphy Stadium. Warms up. Johnny Grubb will not come up. Rusty Kuntz comes out of the Detroit dugout to hit for Grubb.
And that shot we saw of Goose Gossage in the bullpen, standing next to him is the bullpen coach Harry Dunlop, and it's kind of interesting that everybody thinks of Goose Gossage as a hard thrower, but right before he comes into the game, he wants to know from the coach who's standing next to him, Harry Dunlop, who's coming up. Are they high ball hitters, low ball hitters? And he pitches in the bullpen accordingly.
Here now is Rusty Kuntz hitting for Grubb. Rusty came over from the Twins last December in a deal for pitcher Larry Pasnick. Up foul off to the left. Kennedy and Nettles. No play. We have a moment to salute Andy Hawkins. He has been in 5 postseason games this year. He has worked almost 12 innings, 11 2/3 to be exact. He has allowed 2 hits and no runs. And that's a guy who had a confidence problem.
He no longer has that problem.
0-1. In there. Strike 2.
He's a carrier now. He gives other guys that problem.
Boy, isn't that the truth? And the wave is crashing on the shores of San Diego. Lefferts has a great screwball. That's his bread and butter pitch. There it is. He turned it over, down and away. Ball 1. When Craig was in Chicago, they didn't let him throw the screwball. They didn't like it over there. But it improved in winter ball for San Diego, and it's his bread and butter pitcher now. Rusty Kuntz was born in Orange, California. That's not far away. He went to school at Cal State. 2-2. Working its way back to left field now, on its way to the foul pole.
They really got it going now.
And it's a tidal wave now. High fly ball, curling foul, and going out of play.
Look at the concentration of Lefferts. He worked on that screwball, and there it is. Breaking away from the right-hand hitters, his curveball and his slider, big breakers.
2-2. Got him with the screw G.
As Ben said, he worked on this pitch in winter ball. You can see him turn it over. There it is. Watch the rotation as you see it going away from the right-hand hitter. And obviously, when you can break it away from the right-hand hitter, it makes your breaking ball much more effective.
Chet Lemon, ball 1. 2 down, Terry Kennedy hit a double play ball that just ate up Lou Whitaker. 1-1. Another screwball on the inside part of the plate. Boy, that's mean when you come inside with the Scroogey.
He starts it right at the right-hand batter and catches that inside corner. And what he's doing, he's widening that plate because he can break it either way.
1-2. And another one. Dick Williams trying to hold on to a 5-3 lead in the 7th inning and get even in this '84 World Series. Fouled away. And Sparky Anderson mentioning something about the bullpen. You got to beat him early. That's what Sparky just said to Craig. And there is Goose Gossage. And he's talking about the pen. Hawkins, and now Lefferts, and then the Goose. Foul ball down to Alex Kramis.
You know, that's quite a combination. You accuse me of stealing signs. You read lips.
That's right. I can read it. Yeah, that's what he said.
Do you practice that?
I sure do. Sometimes I read them and I don't like what I read and I can't repeat it.
What are they saying right now?
What, who's saying? There's only one man out there.
No, they were talking, 2 guys.
Oh. Boy, is this a madhouse? And wait till we get to Tiger Stadium. The good folks in Detroit ready to bust loose when we get there. 1-2. Screwball hit foul off third, out of play.
You remember that game of the week we did when Baltimore came in?
And how?
I mean, it was bedlam and that. And wait till we get back there. This is going to be just a great. It is a great series.
Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Game 3 of the 1984 World Series from Tiger Stadium in Detroit. But we're not through in San Diego yet, and neither are the Tigers. One and two. Fastball just outside. Barnett raised his right hand a little bit, but did not go all the way up with it. But it was that close.
He hit the target. Kennedy gave him a good one.
2-2. Breaking ball hit the third. Tricky hop, and Nettles gets him. And at the end of 6.5 innings, San Diego 5, Detroit 3, and the Goose rests. The stuff of which dreams are made, and Kurt Bavacqua had his dream come true with a 3-run home run in the 5th inning. That has turned it around from 3-2 Detroit to 5-3 San Diego, and we push on to the bottom of the 7th. Kennedy, Bavacqua, and Martinez against Bill Shearer. High fly ball down the right field line. Big Gibson across the line in the corner, fighting to get it, and can't. Foul ball. Foul ball.
I can't believe that the bullpen didn't give him some help on that. He needed some help, and I don't blame him. He may be saying something right there. Now, when he gets over there, he's looking for some help. He finds himself.
That's Doug Baer down there, his teammate.
He got in the way.
Yep. So Doug Baer, who was warming up with his back to the play, got in Gibson's way, and that gives Kennedy another swing.
That may be, but there's 4 guys sitting on the bench that could have seen it coming.
And it's still my pet peeve. Bullpens have no right to interfere with a ball in play.
Yeah, but if it's there and you're sitting there, you should be to help.
I agree. 0-2. Well, Bill Shearer trying to hold the Padres quiet and in hope that his mates can catch up. Kennedy fouled out, hit into a force play, and had the bad hop single. Ground ball to Bergman. Dave will do it himself. 1 away. The moment that will live forever in the Bavacqua heart and mind. Here it is. Bavacqua grounded out single and then put the slug with that home run. Following the bad hop single. Boy, that play gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Line to left field. Bavacqua has another hit, his third.
I don't know about Lasorda and falling out of water. He's hitting everything.
And Sparky Anderson heading for the mound. He's going to the bullpen. He wants Doug Bear. So interestingly enough, Sparky, who managed in Cincinnati, brought in Shearer, who pitched in Cincinnati, followed by Bear, who pitched in Cincinnati. Up. Here's the way the scoring went. Kirk Gibson had an RBI single to knock in Lou Whitaker, and the Tigers weren't through. Lance Parrish had a scoring fly ball to get Trammell home. Evans had a bloop single to score Gibson. It was 3-0 Detroit. Wiggins scored on Nettles' fly ball in the first inning to make it 3-1, and then Bavacqua scored on Brown's fielder's choice to make it 3-2 in the fourth. And then Bavacqua hit the 3-run home run in the fifth, and the Padres lead the Tigers by 3. Doug Bear will be pitching to Carmelo Martinez. Boy, is he ever from a town aptly named for a relief pitcher as Martinez looks for a sign. Doug Bear is from Defiance, Ohio. 1-1. Standing at first, Bavacqua with his 4th hit in the 2 games. He has 2 singles, a double, and the 3-run home run. Doug Bear came up to the big leagues in '76. Stayed for over 4 years with Cincinnati. Doug's been around. He has a control problem, and you can see he's behind to his first hitter. He has a tendency to get up with the ball. And he's really up. Ball 3. And Sparky Anderson, who knows full well how tough the San Diego bullpen is in trouble. In there, 3-1. 7th inning, 5-3 Padres. The Tigers will have Bergman, Whitaker, and Trammell. But of course, remember, Lefferts the left-hander, so they might be hitting for Bergman. The runner going, and it's fouled away. So they put a run and hit play on.
Didn't do it the last time he was up, did it this time. And now Bavacqua wants to make sure, as he's looking at the third base coach, whether he wants him to run again.
I feel like asking you if you can tell as you look at Gossage and Harry Dunlop in the bullpen. Look at that look on Gossage.
Psyching himself, getting his mean look, his gamer on.
That's the gamer, all right. Juan Berenguer is throwing back of Bear in the Detroit bullpen. 3-2. Bavacqua goes. Foul back. Carmelo Martinez, line to center, struck out and walked.
Bavacqua's getting a slow start, but you see him really bearing down, seeing what the hitter's going to do. He wants to find that ball.
After that home run, he's about 3 feet off the ground anyway. 3-2, 1 out. Bear is a good man to play run and hit against, but not hit and run because he has a tendency to be wild. There goes Bavacqua. High pitch, swung on and missed, and they double up Bavacqua. So Martinez going after a pitch up. No runs, 1 hit. They're gone as Bear gets Martinez. And at the end of 7, the Padres 5, Tigers 3. Here comes Detroit.
With our new RCA camera, we really get a look at that last play. Out of the strike zone, and look at the follow-through. I love the follow-through. He really gets it down to Whitaker in good shape, and he just waits for Bavacqua to DH. Bavacqua was known as Mr. Dirt. And tell me, when's the last time you saw a DH get that dirty?
And isn't he thrilled for every ounce of real estate on that uniform?
Sir.
Well, we're going to the 8th inning, 5-3 in favor of San Diego. And for the 3rd time in 4 batters, Sparky goes to his bench. Tom Brookins hitting for Dave Bergman. 0-1. Remarkably, when we were reading Sparky Anderson's lips and he was praising the San Diego bullpen, how right he was. Because going into this inning, the Padres bullpen has not allowed a run in the last 19 innings. That's from the 8th inning of Game 4 against Chicago right to the present.
They show you great strength with that middle relief, and that's so important because they got the big guy, the Goose, down there. And there he goes. And you might note that Lefferts always pitches out in a stretch.
2-0, and he's on the corner, and Brookins can't believe it. Tommy's saying, oh, wow, that was outside.
Now, you didn't read his lips that time.
I could just tell the way he put his hand on his head.
Oh, okay.
Like he had Excedrin 234. Out away, 2-2. I wouldn't want to read Tommy Brookins' lips 4 years ago. He made 4 errors at third base in 1 game. Get your ears burned. Got him.
Look at the determination and the concentration for that target, and he turns it over. Once again, the rotation tells you screwball, and he's got a good one going.
Oh, what a bread and butter pitch that is for him. Whitaker, ball 1. Whitaker is single, grounded out, and struck out.
And he's got a good slider and a big breaking curveball, so that really makes it tough to try to pick it up.
Look at those numbers for tonight. High pop fly. Lefferts directing traffic. He wants Kennedy. Do you realize the Tigers had 1 hit since the 1st inning? They have not had more than 3 men come to bat in any inning since the 1st inning.
They were behind when Hawkins came in, but he swung the momentum to the Padres side.
Here's Alan Trammell, 1 for 3. Strike. Trammell single to left and then struck out twice against Andy Hawkins. 1-1. That screwball inside to drop down. Some people would think there's a lot of strain in throwing a screwball, but there's a lot more strain on your arm throwing the slider. Line drive, base hit to left. So now you get the big boys coming up. Gibson representing the tying run at the plate. Trammell aboard with his 2nd hit of the night.
Just to put a cap on what you just said, then Carl Hubbell, who is the most famous of the screwball pitchers, he's a Hall of Famer, and what more can you say? He says throwing properly is much easier on your arm than any other pitch.
I guess I've known of more sore arm pitchers, all because of the slider. I guess you don't release your arm and you put tremendous strain. It's also meant a lot of money for a lot of people. All right, here's Gibson. 2 singles grounded out, 2 for 3. They're going to check at third. No swing, says Paul Runge. Strikes as Lefferts works on Kirk Gibson.
1-1. That's that big breaking curveball.
All Sparky can do now, he's got a right man up there in the right spot. Like everybody else, just sweat it out. what's interesting? Remember before the series, the managers were saying, hey, the pressure's in the playoffs. This is all fun. Oh, really? Look at them having fun. They're dying.
It's like the kid that's not scared, but he leaves the night light on.
Trammell at first, 1 and 2. Got him swinging. So quiet, so peaceful, so serene, high up above Jack Murphy Stadium as our blimp glides almost noiselessly through the night. But oh my gosh, what's going on down here? First of all, Tom Brookins, who batted for Dave Bergman, stays in the game at third base. Darrell Evans, who has been playing third base, moves across to first base. And on the mound, Willie Hernandez, who normally would not be working with the Tigers down by 2, but he hasn't pitched since Friday when he worked an inning and a third. And I'm sure Sparky feels, I got to get him a little work.
You've got to keep him sharp. He's the franchise.
Now Gary Templeton turns around and goes the other way. Templeton is 3 for 3 tonight. Fouled away, 0-1. Templeton's numbers would indicate he is a better hitter left-handed. Of course, when you remember back in 1979, he not only had 200 hits, he had 100 hits from each side of the plate. So he can hack it. 0-1.
You talked about playing within himself tonight. That's pretty good within yourself tonight.
A single to center, 2 singles to right. 1-1. Willie Hernandez, an absolutely incredible pitcher. What a year. Fouled away.
You wonder what a screwball looks like? Let's take a look at his. There's the turnover. Look at the rotation. That's what tells you.
One ball and 2 strikes. Scroogey fouled off. For Hernandez, 2 World Series for 2 different teams. He was with Philadelphia. Now, of course, with Detroit. He had 32 of a possible 33 saves in the regular season. That's unbelievable. And he was in all 3 games in the LCS against Kansas City. A looper to center. Lemon coming up. He's got it. Chet had to get a jump where that drops. Good play.
It was not hit that hard. He really got himself a good jump, and he made himself a good play.
So 1 away, and making his first appearance with the bat is Luis Salazar. Remember, Bobby Brown started the game in the number 9 slot. Brown struck out with a runner at second, hit into a force play with runners at first and third, and popped up with runners at second and third, and Williams decided, I better sit him down, and he's playing Salazar. Strike 1. Anderson, thinking ahead, will have Parrish, Evans, and Herndon in the 9th inning. And Williams knows he has Lefferts and Gossage in the weeds. Chopper to third. Tommy Brookins. Over to Darrell Evans. 2 down in the 8th inning. Sitting quietly, a laughing Terry Kennedy and a very reflective Craig Lefferts. And Steve Garvey, who has been there so many times.
Look at his uniform compared to Bavacqua's.
Yeah, you know who went 0 for 3. Right. Of course, they always call him Mr. Clean anyway.
I think the line that said it all about the celebrations when the fellow wrote, even Garvey's hair was messed.
Strike 1 to Wiggins. 1-1. Wiggins is a better hitter right-handed than he is left-handed. He hit .312 from this side of the plate during the regular year. Fastball, a one-hopper. Oh, what a play by Trammell to get him. You talk about a Gold Glove. Alan Trammell, the vacuum cleaner at shortstop. And now
worth a good look on our new camera. You can see it's a screwball. It's really hit hard by Wiggins, and watch Trammell come up with it. Short hop, little bit of an ice cream cone look. Sets himself and makes an easy out. Gold Glove is right, Ben.
Oh, boy. And now let's see about Detroit in the 9th inning. Strike to Lance Parrish. Parrish, Darrell Evans, and Larry Herndon. Lance had a scoring fly ball, popped up twice. Fouled away. Down in the bullpen, should Lefferts weaken at all, Sparky Nose lurks the goose. 0-2 to Lance Parrish. And Dick Williams stuffing in a little extra chewing tobacco. 0-2. 1-2. Craig Lefferts trying to nail it down and give Andy Hawkins the win. And he's behind now, even up 2-2. Game 3, Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Tim Lawler and Milt Wilcox. Tiger Stadium, Detroit. And Lance had to have a disciplined bat to take that pitch.
That's the pitch that always looks so good, that high fastball. And the big guy started, but he held back.
That was a great bit of discipline to hold on that one. That's the one you pop up if you hit it at all. 3-2. Lefferts certainly does not want to look at Darrell Evans representing the tying run. And he would also like to hold on to the momentum by getting the first man in the inning. But that's an awfully big man to get. Lance Parrish, 3-2. Strike 3 call.
Too close to take, looked like a strike, and certainly Larry Barnett very emphatic with his call.
And Williams needs 2 more to get even, as Darrell Evans is the batter. We're going to be packing suitcases tonight and heading for Detroit, led by the executive producer of NBC Sports, Michael Weissman. Our coordinating producer, Harry Coyle, will be there, along with our producer, George Finkel. And so will Willie Hernandez and Alan Trammell and 50,000 wild-eyed Tiger fans.
It's the breaking ball. He's got it going, Ben, the strikeout pitch.
And they're on their feet at Jack Murphy Stadium. 1 out in the 9th. 5-3 San Diego.
That's the first time Kennedy gave the target by his facing his glove up, like drop it in. Give me the breaking ball low, drop it in.
Line foul down the right field line. The Tigers still alive. 1 out in the 9th inning. 5 runs, 11 hits for San Diego, and Sparky's gang 3 runs and 7 hits. But remember, 3 runs and 5 hits in the first inning against Dick Williams. Got him. Never mind Goose Gossage. Greg Lefferts has struck out 5 of the 9 batters. And Evans puts his helmet away for another night, Friday. And Jack Kroll says, look out for the bunt. And Dick Williams